Okay, mine. Welcome everyone to this show. It is a Friday. Uh, Today is August 15th of March. I welcome you for actually it is a weekend. Weekend starts from Friday. Yeah, it is a weekend and the closure of the week for working people. Um, First of all, I'll, I'll first thank everyone that is always here with us uh, whenever we make discussions here on Black Oak Network. For those that are always watching us from Twitter, Black Oak One, thank you. Uh, Black Oak Network 2, that is the YouTube channel where we are streaming now, and of course our Facebook page, Black Oak Network Radio Station. I hope you guys are doing good, and it has been so nice. Yesterday, of course, in Uganda, we got a chance to get rains during night, but still a lot of hotness is. William says, "What's going on, people? Hope you're well today." Yes, we are doing good, K. William. So, um, our topic today, uh, it's going to reflect so much on the words of course, the chairman of the African Development Bank. That is a Nigerian guy who is the chief of the African Development Bank. He said that Europeans should stop exchanging African resources for loans on the break or a break. Listening, okay, William. So he said that Europeans should stop exchanging African resources with, of course, loans. Um, a lot of African countries we are falling prey of the Western loans, starting from the most recent people that are giving out loans in African countries, fake loans, and those are the Chinese. Those are the people that are on the forefront of giving out loans to African countries. So, um, before even that statement, African Development Bank chief, this is a straightforward man who always criticizes uh, Western exploitation, European exploitation on African soil. Um, Very many countries they're having a lot of debts from Western countries. I don't know whether even these debts will be paid out. So on March 12th, like this year, the African Development Bank chief criticized opaque loans that were tied to African natural resources. Whenever these people are giving out loans, they tie them with natural resources. They don't tie them with anything. So the head of the African Development Bank is calling for an end. to loans given in exchange for oil or critical minerals used in smartphones and electric car batteries. So Lagos, Nigeria, the head of the African Development Bank, is calling for an end of the loans given in exchange for continental rich supplies of oil and critical minerals that are used in smartphones and electrical car batteries. So, deals that have helped China gain control over mineral mining in places like Congo and have left some African countries in financial crisis. So, they are just bad. First and foremost, because you can't price the asset properly. This chief said that the associate says that if you have minerals or oil under the ground, how do you come up with a price for a long-term contract? This is a challenge. This is a challenge for Africa, and it is putting Africa in danger. So, linking future revenue from natural resource exports to loans, power downs is often touted as a way for recipients to give financing for infrastructure projects and for lenders to reduce the risk of not getting their money back. These people give out loans to African countries like they don't want their money back. For the case of Chinese, you already said that Chinese they don't give out hard cash. Their loans are majorly based in infrastructure in exchange for resources. So we see that Adesina, whose of course Ivory Coast-based institution helps to finance development in African countries, said these arrangements come with a litany of problems. So he highlighted that the uneven nature of the negotiations with lenders typically helping the upper hand and dictating terms to cash-strapped African nations. This power imbalance, coupled with lack of transparency and the potential for corruption, creates fertile ground for exploitation of African resources. So, these are the reasons why, of course, the African Development Boss says that we shouldn't. Maria, what are you doing? Making all that noise. Maria, you had all morning to cook way to get on the show, understand?
Okay, Williams, I do other things. Apparently, me and Innocent, we are doing part time here. So we also have to hustle somewhere else. So sorry. I'm not even cooking, I was just dishing out.
So, these people,
I was making too much money. So I'm mad.
so, um, um, uh, like, if we look at what like particularly like it is the Chinese that I see now that are too much into African issues when it comes to giving out loans to to Africa. So so the reason why Chief, by the way, this is a straightforward man. I've got a chance of reading some of his articles online. This is a man who doesn't accept any shit done on, of course, African soil. He's already speaking like the reality of what Africa is. So he said that natural resources pose a challenge for development banks, like his and the International Monetary Fund, which promotes sustainable debt management. Countries may struggle to get or repay loans from these institutions because they have to use the income from their natural resources. So typically crucial to their economies to pay off resource tied by debts. After Chad and Angola and the Republic of Congo approached the IMF for support, the multilateral lender insisted on negotiating with the natural resources backed loans. Kitegeera? So Western commodity traders and banks such as the Granacori and others, and even the Standard Chartered, we have Standard Chartered businesses, Standard Chartered in Africa. So also have funded oil for cash deals, notably with the Republic of Congo, Chad, and Angola. These are the countries that are not actually they are not even the only countries that are facing the consequences of these loans backed by natural resources. Because now things changed. These people no longer want money, if at all, apart from China, if at all they give you their cash money, you have to back every loan they give you with the resources. That's why I don't know where border men get in Uganda, where border men get this kind of news. But border men, they will tell you that Lake Victoria is sold. They will tell you that they partitioned, the Chinese partitioned plots within the lake and other resources and other resources, not actually the lake, and other resources, because countries like Nigeria, countries like Congo have a lot of minerals, petrol, oil, among others. So Standard Chartered did not immediately respond to the email seeking comment, while pointed to its 2020 report that prepayments demystified, which says that trading firms are enabling production that would be otherwise not be possible, thus underpinning economic growth, job creation, and generation of fiscal revenues in the country. So fixation on one country as being behind these types of loans, when asked about criticisms over China's lending backed by oil, critical minerals such as cobalt, copper, used in electric vehicles and other products. We see that bauxite, the main mineral in aluminium manufacturing, which has been used in China's recent resource-backed loan contracts with Guinea and Ghana. So it is not about one country or other, or any country can exploit when you don't know what you are doing. So the capacity to negotiate at the country level, the capacity to plan, the capacity for debt management is very important. So we see that China's Minister of Foreign Affairs last year in Beijing, that actually operates in Beijing, the principle of transparency and openness in relation to Africa, Congo has been looking to review the infrastructure for mineral arrangement. It is signed with China. It signed with China in 2008 over concerns it gets too few benefits from the arrangement. However, these people, they are taking minerals, but as Congolese people, they are getting few arrangements from this kind of arrangements they signed with Congo. China signed with Congo. So the grants Chinese firms and the Chinese raiding group are 68. stake in a joint venture for copper and cobalt with Congo's state mining companies. We see that last year, Congo's state auditor demanded China's investment commitment be increased to 20 billion from the original 3 billion to match the value of the resources sold by the state under the deal of China under that deal. However, China rejected the report, it rejected the auditor's report of Congo. So the former Nigerian Minister for Agriculture said African Development Bank new alliance for green infrastructure in Africa aims to mobilize over 10 billion to help countries finance bankable sustainable infrastructure, including the energy and transport sectors, which could limit the allure of course problematic financing. So climate and environment coverage receives financial support from multiple private foundations. Um, AP is solely responsible for all content. So for find AP standard for working with uh, K. Williams says that those puppets are taken at money and putting it in their own bank accounts. That's true. That's true, K. Williams. And the Chinese will keep giving them loans because they know they cannot pay you back, and you cannot pay it back, and they will own half of ah, they will own half of Africa. Eso lo hubiera, eso lo hubiera, no lo decía, no le diría. So, vamos a volver a boletín. Vamos a volver a boletín. Byose batutwala fessaamu byose batutwala ku kadde nga bose olubbira boleeti abijjo bisala njire muno muno
Like Innocent was saying, by the way, good evening. All right. Like Innocent was saying that the head of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, has raised concerns about opaque loans linked to Africa's natural resources. Before even the head of African Development Bank, of course, has raised this concern, we've been talking about this for some good time here. And I usually give an example of the Chinese. The Chinese loan is more of okay. Chinese don't actually give them hard cash because they don't have it. Maybe their loans is in form of services or something. Because basically, where they rely mostly on constructions and infrastructure. So, and the very funniest thing about these loans that Chinese, of course, uh, give to African countries are loans that, of course, they decide the amount and also choose what they want in return. Now, Akinwumi Adesina, the head of the African Development Bank, stated that you cannot, of course, give a loan of a mineral that is underground. Its volume is not measured. Yeah, so it's just estimated. So how can you ask for a mineral which volume is not measured? So there is a lot of sabotage. It's like somebody waking up and like, I'm taking a loan and I'm taking this water body. Are you sure that the minerals and everything that is found in that water body really falls into the loans? But of course, I think this has got to do with the uneducatedness of the Africans who are handling this issue. Because how will someone wish to be stolen in such a manner? It is just indescribable because, um, first of all, loans tied to natural resources have allowed China to gain control over mineral mining in places like Congo. For instance, China-Congo deal strengthened Beijing's position in the global supply chain for electricity vehicles, the one that people usually call the EVs, by tapping into the world's largest reserves of cobalt, a mineral essential for lithium ion batteries. Now, these are the things. First of all, they cheat um, the Africans in a various ways because of the China Congo deal. China has been able to strengthen its Beijing position in the global supply chain for electric vehicles. It is challenging other countries. Why? Because China has access to cobalt that is mined in Congo. But what has China done to Congo? First of all, we should all remember that if at all we are to bring professional engineers, most of the things that are constructed by China are fake. The raw materials are extremely cheap. The labor is extremely unskilled because, first of all, like I told you guys, China itself brings the prisoners who are in service. They don't bring professional engineers, or they don't want to waste that time. They don't want to waste that money. But since Africa is a dumping site for apparently everything, they will bring, Africa doesn't even have time to research which engineer are we dealing with? What have they done in China? What have they constructed? All we do is to embrace, welcome all that bullshit that these people bring on our plate. And of course, it's served cold and we eat it. We have realized that China has started gaining its economical strength. Last year, was it last year? I think like 2 years ago now. We were elaborating about the economical strength of China at that time. And actually, China has gained a certain level of its economical strength due to its access and the link to tapping the Africa's minerals, which is a little bit crazy. The relationship between the Democratic Republic of Congo and China has been multifaceted, involving mining contracts, infrastructure projects, and economic cooperation. And of course, we know Silco Mines deal that was in 2008. The Democratic Republic of Congo signed a mineral for infrastructure contract known as the Silco Mines with the Chinese state companies. Now, under this deal, the Chinese companies agreed to invest 3 billion US dollars in a copper and cobalt mining project in a mineral-rich Katanga province. Now, additionally, they committed invest 3.2 billion in general infrastructure. However, a report by the Congolese General Inspectorate of Finance revealed that the Democratic Republic of Congo had not been adequately compensated for its copper and cobalt reserves. This is something that they bring exciting deals. I will repeat this. They bring exciting deals. Africans welcome these deals, but at the end of the day, there is a high level of sabotage. Now, the contracts they signed, the memorandum of understanding, the Chinese got so greedy into mining this cobalt and forgot the promises they made to China. Of course, the report shows that uh, the Democratic Republic of Congo had not been adequately compensated for its copper and cobalt reserves. Now, these people will come in, and I'm seeing these people still dealing with the Uganda's oil. They are trying to construct, bring materials, the machines, and everything that is needed to mine. This is the same thing they did with the cobalt in Congo. They brought all the things, they constructed the mining projects, and all they did, well, I guess apparently Congo thought as they are mining, Congo is also going to get a certain, amount of money, which of course China did not. These are not my words. These are not INNOSSETU's words. These were the concerns that were raised by the Inspectorate of Finance in Congo. So he made the world know that as much as we signed this contract with the Chinese people, we have not been compensated. We have not received the end of the deal. So that is it. Chinese companies were accused of exploiting about 10 billion US dollars in minerals, but only building infrastructures worth an estimated 822 million US dollars. Now, 822 million US dollars compared to the 10 billion they have exploited. This is exactly what I was explaining. They will bring, first of all, fake engineers. They will buy fake materials. They don't even allow the home industries that are producing raw materials to supply. Because, for example, we have raw materials here that do constructions. We have cement, we have sand, we have steel, we have all the raw materials. We have iron, we have tiles, we have roofing tiles. We have all the raw materials, the nails and the timber and everything. If China was in to support, let me say, Uganda, because I don't know if others have, but one thing I'm sure of 100% we produce this constructing raw materials here. China would be still investing in this country, in these companies, saying that we are taking this amount of, iron sheets or whatever it is from this company. We are going to, of course, pay, or you even pay with cash. Chinese don't do that. Wherever they get the raw materials, it should be raw materials from manufactured by their own local Chinese who are here exploiting. The ones who are also doing the things that the indigenous people are doing. The ones that are producing fake iron sheet, because for them, they don't really care. So what do the companies do? They go ahead and also do the same. They jump these other companies that we are so sure of their materials, and they go and purchase materials of the same people who have come from China doing their fake products over here to, of course, construct, because the moment Africans, we are stupid. I think they think we are animals. We are stupid. Our mind does not, think straight. So you put up an infrastructure and then boom, they have seen it already. The televisions, the cameras will show as you're mining the gold, as you are taking the oil. Even their constructions take time. They don't finish so very fast. It takes time. When COVID-19 hit China, you saw how quick they built that hospital. How quick that hospital was
during COVID.
During COVID time. When it comes to Africa, Chinese start constructing shit for apparently 7 years, five, you're still doing the bullshit. You're taking your time as you exploit. They constructed the Nile, this ginger Kampala bridge. Have you even seen it? The lights, whatever they put there is no longer there anymore.
Today,
It does not light. It does not give those flags it was giving.
today I was from town, and you know that China road they constructed,
Mm,
the bypass.
mm.
So I had the warning, like those warn. They know whenever there is construction, there is those warnings they put. Like the banner was reading like you go slow, bypass under construction. Yet it was like in fact they are repairing the what? The bypass. Yet people are paying for to use that flyover. People are paying to use northern bypass. But today I found it like it was like a banner somewhere. Go slow. The road is under the bypass is under construction. It was constructed by Chinese, and they used, actually it is considered to be one of the most expensive roads
In that country.
in the world, that bypass. So these people, like, they pretend to be bringing.
Typical example. The most expensive road in the world, in Uganda, the road
Mm,
that is always under construction each and every time they're trying to renovate, urbanize this road and all that. I don't know, because if I can see something, what is it? What is it about these people not seeing this thing?
mm.
Are they seeing? Are they turning a blind eye? Is this the decision they have made to make Africans, their fellow Africans, suffer or something? Anyway, regular assessment of mining. Recently President Xi Jinping, Xi Jinping of China and Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo agreed to regularly assess mining cooperation in the long-term interest of both countries. Now, President Tshisekedi aims to review mining contracts that, of course, he considers poorly negotiated under his predecessor Joseph Kabila. Now, the okay. By the way, um, he's also coming to sit the other end listen, and he's also going to do the same bullshit. It's okay, it's hard, it's laughable, it's crazy. I don't know. At times I laugh over things that are very sad because I'm like, how is this even possible? You come in, I don't know. What is it? What is it about Africa? I'm failing to understand. So these people sit around and discuss us, and then they know exactly what to do. Hmm? They know exactly what to do. China's infrastructure for mineral deals across Africa have faced growing, scrutiny. The Democratic Republic of Congo, uh, anonymous mineral reserves, including cobalt, copper, tantalum, tin, and gold, are critical globally. Yet poverty remains widespread. These are the minerals that are very vital. These are the minerals that are highly on market demand. These are minerals that apparently all the new technology would need. But of course, Congo still remains poor. Now, while China's firms dominate the Democratic Republic of Congo's resource sector, concerns persist about the actual benefits delivered to the Congolese population. They are not here to mine. And the funniest thing is the greed they have when they are mining those things. You give them a what they take a water body. I know maybe their contracts take something like let me say maybe they sign and say we are taking Lake Victoria for 30 years. Let me assure. So I don't know their contract terms, but this is what I know they do. We are taking Lake Victoria for 40 or 30 years. And then what happens? They kill everything. The greed they have is so abnormal. They exploit. They don't give that. They don't give time for fish to grow. They harvest every living organism in the water. Even the, because they are going, they are not here to stay. They exploit mercilessly with too much greed.
mm,
And you can see like what they did those sides as you are heading to your home
mm,
area.
mm,
There is too much greed. They even built their flat in those wetlands. They don't care. The mosquitoes, they everything. They the wetlands. They will plant rice. They do all kind of stuffs over there, and then it is okay for them to still keep on doing the same thing. Now, last year, the United States of America agreed to 1.6 billion US dollar aid package for the Democratic Republic of Congo, focusing on public institutions, water, electricity, small businesses, and agriculture. China has also provided debt restructuring support to the Republic of Congo. Chinese are very crazy. So the situation in Africa, anyway, certainly Chinese loans have had a significant impact on several African countries. For example, Angola has been a major recipient of Chinese loans, particularly for infrastructure projects and resource development. Ethiopia has also received substantial Chinese financing for various projects, including transportation and energy infrastructure. Zambia, known for its copper resources, has been significantly affected by the Chinese loans. Now, Kenya has benefited from Chinese investment in infrastructure, but it has also faced challenges related to debt distresses. Egypt has received Chinese loan for projects such as the construction of the new administrative capital. Uh-huh. Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, has engaged in various loan agreements with China for infrastructure development. Comes Cameroon. It has also been a recipient of Chinese loans, particularly for infrastructure and energy projects. While not in debt distress, South Africa has received new loans from China since 2020. The Republic of Congo is among the countries at risk of debt distress due to Chinese lending. Ghana has also engaged in loan agreements with China for developing project now. Those are the few examples that I've highlighted. The complex relationship between Chinese lending, practices and African nations. While Chinese loans have facilitated infrastructure development, they have also raised the concern about debt sustainability and repayment capacity. It's very, very important that we remember African countries need to manage their debt effectively and find sustainable solution in cooperation with China and other international partners. But the most important thing is Africa waking up and realize that we have the ability and the potential to do this on our own because all they need we have. They are giving us loans that are even not tangible. and we are giving them a lot. I forgot about. I think you want to stay away from Maria. Hope you're well. I think you want to stay away from Maria and Joby cooking. Ah, my dear. Kia Williams, what are you saying? I wasn't cooking. I was dishing out. And secondly, I know how to cook. I may not know how to do a lot of things. So don't start saying. I don't boss around, but I know how to cook. I'll not be showing you the food I've cooked, but Innocent, don't I know how to cook? Innocent is the one who usually eats my food. It's even eating my food. Huh? Stop. But I will have to be that we may have to stay away. But it will be really good. Um, well, we're done with financial crisis. Some African countries have found themselves in financial crisis due to these arrangements. Now, the uneven nature of negotiations often leaves lenders with the upper hand, um, dictating terms to cash-strapped African nations. This is something I was saying here on the African network a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember, that as these Chinese give you the loans, they are the ones who negotiate. They decide what they want. Barbecue. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Innosetu is the one that is so good at that. Ah. So you Africans don't decide. So when before even you sign that deal, they have already made a choice of what they want. I was thinking. So they will decide if I'm giving you, if we are constructing this road, then we are taking the source of the Nile. When they are taking the source of the Nile, it comprises the tourists that are coming. It comprises the minerals that is in that place, the fish, everything, all the activities that are happening in that, and they decide what to do with it because you're not going to tell them what to do when they have signed the contract that now they own it. So that is a problem that actually, I don't know why, if it is about business, both people should be favored. If I'm going to take a loan from somewhere, I should be given something that fits that money I'm taking. Not taking something that is so abnormal like these weird money lenders. So anyway, the lack of transparency and the potential for corruption create fertile ground for exploitation. Loans secure with the natural resources pose a challenge for development banks like the African Development Bank and the International Monetary Fund, which promotes sustainable debt management. Now, the corruption. I was here asking, like, how is it possible that these people go ahead and sign such kind of contracts? The contracts that come with such kind of stiffness and something that is obvious even a young child will not agree to. But this still drives us to one answer: corruption. So, as long as the other one is so sure that I'm going to get a certain amount of money from this deal, I don't really care what comes with the deal. I don't really care with the negativity. I'm definitely signing this deal because I'm going to, of course, get a certain amount of, money from this deal. And this is corruption. And of course, since of course the chief president of the African Development Bank talked about it, criticizes the OPEC loans tied to Africa resources. Probably, maybe we are hoping to see a greater change. Adesina advocates for Adesina advocates for ending such natural resources backed loans and highlights an initiative that helps countries renegotiate systematic, non-transparent, and wrongly priced loans. It's crucial to find more equitable and sustainable financial models for the African development. No, 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 no,
They already, they already got to the point.
So for some time, Africa, this is something that is so obvious that I'm even so afraid to for the future. I don't know whether the greed is actually turning Africans so blind. Africa needs to pay hardball and be uniform in this approach. You have what they desperately want, but how to achieve this exactly.
So there are a lot of course, African countries that owe a substantial amount of debt to various creditors from Europe. Um, we talked about China, and of course, which intends on giving Africans loans, but at the end of it, all what it aims at are the resources. But um, the overall African debt actually can be estimated to over 417 billion. This debt encompasses various types of creditors, including multilateral organizations and bilateral lenders. So, composition of African debt, multilateral organizations in 2018, 38% of the African government external debts was owed to multilateral organizations such as the World Bank and the IMF, International Monetary Fund. So we see that Africa is having a lot of debts compared to of course, any other continent. With any other continent. Sorry, let me make these some lights here. Wow. Wow. So, I'm sorry for that. So, when when uh, when uh, when we look like Africans, we have a lot of debts from, of course, different stakeholders, which are not even in Africa. I talked about how the multilateral organizations like the IMF, like the World Bank are demanding Africa seriously, because the debt is, of course, estimated to be 417 billion. So the composition of African debt can also be traced from the bilateral creditors. Approximately, that is 32% of the African government external debts was owed to bilateral creditors. Among these is 20% was specifically owed to China, 20%, 20%. So, debt relief efforts, we see that the European Union has committed the international debt relief efforts for Africans, but we know like Europe, uh, it can't it can't just come from air and says we are giving Africa a debt relief. There is a condition that is accompanied with this. However, this is actually not published anywhere, but we know that this is backed by resources. Like you organize, they talk behind the curtains about this this kind of dates in negotiation with the resources of a country. If at all you have oil, if at all you have minerals like Congo, you have those rich minerals. That is how things are going. So K. Williams says that they cannot play hardball because these leaders are no good. They do care about the people only their bank accounts.
But they cannot play handball. It's true. Do they even care? They don't really care. Yeah, well, maybe.
So we see those debt reliefs that are conveyed to Africans fakely. But we shouldn't forget that the current debt service and GDP ratio, African countries are expected to pay over 89.4 billion in external debt service
Mm.
in this year. So a lot of money has gone through has gone to, of course, European countries,
Mm.
either in good terms or bad terms. So Africa's sovereign debt crisis has had a profound impact on the lives of its citizens. Together.
Mm.
So sovereign debt refers actually to the debt incurred by governments,
Mm.
like individual or governments borrow for various reasons, often to finance critical public infrastructure. Yet we have things that, of course, can support. We have resources that can back the infrastructure in our countries. Because if China can come from China to come here to construct infrastructure, to construct roads, to construct buildings here, can't we construct those buildings within us without consulting from China?
When we have even professions
Yes,
and they're
because
bringing in non-professions.
because
By the Selassie.
they are aiming at is money to
They
give them.
don't want even to lose. Because if you are bringing a prisoner, that means this person is going to serve. Toga Musasuna,
Mm,
Tewali Musala is doing service.
mm,
What's that? There is no salary. The only thing they do is eat, and they usually eat with these local people. No, so there is the China government does not even pay the workers. Okay. And that's why these people been everywhere eating African flesh. They are not even given money to buy beef.
mm,
That's why they be eating the other workers who are Africans. We know how Chinese were eating the
mm,
black Kenyans in Kenya.
mm,
Tell you.
mm,
So because they don't want to waste anything, they don't want to invest in anything. All they want is to take and take and take. By the way, I'm sorry for jumping into your discussion, but in 2023 we realized that China was growing 5.2% rapid growth according to according to its GDP the
mm,
previous years. It is strongly growing, and it is, it is strongly growing in the high tech industries, and this is attributed in part to continuous support from, of course, these other African countries. China, there was a certain time where China was one of the countries that had high rates of unemployment.
mm.
Now it has fallen. It is struggling to put itself up there on the expenses of the African people. Have a great day, people. Just stop by, show some support. Thank you so much, K. Williams. Have a great day. I think I need to pay her.
So, so we see that
Mhm.
we see that very many African countries have been affected with this kind of stuff, and what makes things hard, what makes things funny is that the people that are affected in this these are the average people in Africa, because there is no way rich people, there is no way government officials they are affected in this. It is me, it is we, the average people, who are looking like who are affected in this, because of course if infrastructures are not constructed, are not constructed, it is me who is going to suffer with dust,
Mm,
because it is me who is going to suffer with dust. First of all, I use my phone to go to work. I like everything is done manually. Yeah. So for me, I've liked this guy. I've liked this guy of the African Development Bank. This guy is so serious on issues. If at all you go through his
Anyway, for me, I would say these people for um, a very long time. They have planning. They have been planning, to do this. As with this, we are in Uganda. We are complaining of the same thing, but again, there are those other countries that are worse. That it is too much. It is too much. Recently, Magufuli is the one who knocked them out. But this lady who is a president now is of Banga, embracing that. For some time back, I saw her talking to them. She welcomed the Chinese and stuff. They also wanted to come for Tanzania. Magufuli was like, hell no. But anyway.
So African countries have been. We know that when we talk about the extent of debt, Chinese lenders account for 12% of Africa's private public external debt, which has increased more than, of course, fivefold from 696 billion 2000 to 2020. By the way, for me, I thought that these Chinese are new. like they are new, but these Chinese have existed in Africa for some good time, because you will tell very many people that, of course, Chinese are in Congo. They will tell you Chinese are not there, but in reality, these people are everywhere as long as there are resources. So the debt distress currently, 22 low-income African countries are either already in debt distress or high risk of it from China. So case studies of several African countries have been experienced the consequences of Chinese lending. Notably, Angola is one of those countries that have been affected by Chinese loans.
Mm,
These loans, China
mm.
giving out those fake loans. Djibouti, Kenya, the Republic of Congo, and of course Zambia. There is an extent, there is time, when the time reached in, what was it, 2019, I had like Zambia's police is full of Chinese. Zambia's police is full of Chinese. When you go at the airport, you can't even see when a native they are Chinese. So have faced the debt distress related to the scale of
They took an
Chinese
airport,
loans.
of course.
So the social impact, the examination of these case studies, we have talked about, reveals insights into how Chinese infrastructure lending in Africa has led to, of course, to problems in African countries, causing debt distress among very many African governments. So when we talk about European lending, it is not like all the loans we have in Africa, they are China loans. But even European countries have engaged in lending Africa. So European lending and the historical context, we see that resource-backed spending spree, views of Chinese lending in Africa are often influenced by the rapid expansion of Chinese finance to restore rich African states in the early 2000s. So particularly oil-producing countries like Angola. That's why, and these Chinese are very wise people. They put too much focus on countries that have oil and visible minerals like gold and other minerals that help in making phones in Congo.
Cobalt.
So and cobalt. So World Bank and African Development Bank, while China's estimated total lending from 2000 2022 is expected to be estimated to be 170 billion US dollars. It constitutes of the 64% of the World Bank's lending and almost five times the African Development Bank's sovereign loans to Africa. So we see that mutual interests and cooperations, China and the West, despite of the political and economic tensions, both China and the West have a stronger mutual interest in cooperating with each other and with other African nations and other African nations. However much China may be China may be believing in different ideologies when it comes to politics and economic system, but these European and those Asian countries that have managed to come to Africa, these people have the same interest. They have that mutual interest within themselves because they are focusing on African minerals. They are focusing on digging Africa for their interests.
Mm.
Yeah. See why we take it. Mhm. I don't know whether all Africans think like I don't praise that this chief of the African Development Bank, but at least the guy has ideas that favor Africans. He might be a puppet somewhere on different issues
At a certain level.
on a certain level, but his puppetism is not concentrated, if I may say. Is not because there is a way he views African issues. He has that heart for Africa. has that nationalistic heart for Africa and
How long
African
has he been
issues. Yeah.
also how
Mhm.
long has he been the president, the chief? Because at times this that the pricing challenge is of determining a fair price for long-term contracts based on underground minerals or oil reserves is a significant challenge. Now, lenders typically hold the upper hand in negotiations, dictating terms to cash-strapped African
Um,
nations. Kamaza,
um,
Wazee,
um,
and and that is it. The imbalance of power
so
and
like there is a way like those countries uh, like they made like the OPEC loan agreements that African nations were entering into. The loans were backed with the continent's vast natural resources, like as we started at first. But this is not this is actually beyond fraud. What is scam? Not even a scam. It is something
theft,
that is bigger than we
broad
may think.
daylight theft.
It is something that is bigger than we may think.
Very comfortable.
Okay. Like,
Consider now the power.
and what is funny with China is like China doesn't care about how your country uh, does things. China doesn't care like how many people are suffering with it, because even those Chinese, if at all they are to employ an African, they they give people less pay compared to what they do. They they give people less pay compared to what people give out when it comes to work output.
Anyway, we all know that China's provision of loans to African countries in exchange for access to minerals is part of its broader strategy to secure natural resources and promote economic interests. Of course, its economic interest in Africa. Now, we know that there are a lot of factors that contribute to the interest of China providing loan to African countries in exchange for access to minerals. And China is one of the world's largest consumers of natural resources, including minerals such as oil, copper, iron, iron, and of course, rare earth metal to meet its growing demand for these resources and ensure a stable supply. China seeks to secure access to key mineral reserves around the world, including in Africa. China, of course, we know that it offers loans and financing for infrastructure projects in African countries, such as roads, railways, ports, and energy facilities. Now, these projects often require large quantities of raw materials and minerals for construction, which provide an opportunity for China to negotiate access to mineral resources as part of the financing agreement and also market for their own construction materials. Of course, we know that the bilateral relationship between or the Chinese engagement with Africa's countries through loans and infrastructure projects is also driven by diplomatic and strategic considerations by providing financial of course, assistance and investment. China seeks to strengthen its political and economical ties with the African government and gain influence in the region. But I'm seeing like China is going to lose this because apparently, unless Nga is going to do this on a gunpoint, because Africa as a nation is getting tired. It's getting tired of China exploiting it. They are so desperate, they're on tension. And I think maybe this is the corner at which China is pushing Africa so that Africa can start feeding on China's palm. Now, we know, of course, Africa represents a growing market for Chinese goods and services. By investing in infrastructure development and economic projects in African countries, China aims to stimulate economic growth and create opportunities for Chinese companies to export goods and investments in Africa's market. You remember that time where the president of Uganda, of course, said not to use the clothes that are coming from UK, and of course gave a deal to Chinese to export clothes from China. And we know their clothes are even not durable. But yeah, we know that China often emphasizes the principle of win-win cooperation in its engagement with African countries, framing its economic activities as mutually beneficial partnership that supports development and prosperity. Africans always often think that China is doing its win to win, but actually China is winning as Africa is losing. And usually this is the deal that is always on the table. China tells you as we engage ourselves, in win to win. So as we win with your minerals, you're winning with your infrastructure. But the biggest question is, how long is this infrastructure going to last? Is it going to last as long as the Chinese keep on mining? Is it going to last that each time they'll need to renovate this infrastructure so that they can also keep on taking minerals? Remember, there is a reason why we Chinese don't allow Africans to give them their own engineers. Because apparently they think they're the ones who know the technical know-how of the construction of their specific infrastructures that they are constructing in Africa. So that at any time, T, if of course they say we are going, there is no one who will know how to go about it. They are the ones who have the architecture, they are the ones who know whatever they did. They don't even allow professional Africans to come close when they are doing these things. So there is also a hidden agenda. Because if we are win to win, if I tell you are doing something for me, why is it hard for you to allow my other people of the same, of course, qualification with yours to meet heads, to decide, to be together and see how things are running? China doesn't allow that. You see, probably there is a hidden agenda to that, and I believe sooner or later we shall be sure, we shall, of course, come to realize what is going on. Kale, kabize.
So, the African Development Bank has been actually actively addressing the issue of loan tied to African natural resources, particularly those from China and Europe. We see that criticism of the OPEC loans, these OPEC loans have been increasing in the recent
Hmm.
years in Africa. However, these kind of loans, they are backed with the natural resources. China gives you a loan, it backs it with a natural resource because they know of course, the resources are they are vast to the continent. So
Mm.
they back everything with they back loans, these fake infrastructure loans, with of course minerals. So the African Development Bank has tried as much as possible to criticize such opaque loans. So The president of the African Development Bank, Adesina, has publicly criticized loans given in exchange for Africa's rich supplies of oil or critical minerals used in smartphones and electric car batteries, because these are the most expensive actually minerals per now, because the world is in demand of
So
phones and
now,
electric cars.
and now China is struggling to take lead
Yeah.
of this.
So these deals have been often left some African countries in financial crisis and have helped China control over mineral mining in places like Congo. Again, very many people like they focus on other countries, very many like other countries that are focusing on mineral resources in Congo. They don't normally mention about these Chinese people, these Chinese. But Chinese, they might even be bigger than the population in Congo because they want minerals. So the challenging loan pricing, we see that the pricing assets properly is a challenge when linking future revenue from the natural resource exports to loan pay downs. The shift to renewable energy and electric vehicles has increased the demand for critical minerals, like I said, driving these types of loans. For instance, the China Congo deal strengthened Beijing's position in the globe supply, like you said, chain of electric vehicle by tapping into the world's largest reserves of cobalt. So, a mineral used in making iron batteries, lithium ion batteries. So, bank initiative. We know that the African Development Bank has also initiated the efforts to help countries renegotiate loans that are symmetric, not transparent, and wrongly priced by China. Which they get because like you can't wake up one day and you're like, or we have given you, for example, a loan that is estimated to be 800 million with a mineral you have not calculated. We talked about this with a mineral because minerals are underground. They are underground. So these people keep on mining day and night. Kugira ngo ngende mu archive. So when I laptop. Tired of mixed babies too.
Yeah, true. I'm tired of mixed babies too. Me too. How about you? The China.
The Chinese are no for so sub what's the sub
Subpart construction is
it's called
called top
concrete.
concrete or top construction. I'm hearing that from Jigjaga. That of course we know that the OPEC loans that China provides to African countries, of course, have raised the concerns among policymakers, analysts, and civil society organizations. And I'm so grateful that people are waking now actually to voice out this concern. Uh, that we know China is having what we call the debt trap diplomacy. And China's OPEC loans to African countries can lead to a debt trap diplomacy, where borrower countries become heavily indebted to China and risk losing control over strategic assets or resources. In some cases, countries may default on loan repayment, leading to China exerting political leverage or acquiring ownership stakes in critical infrastructure or resources as collateral. That means when you default, ngabatwala,
Mm. Yeah.
ngabachi owninga. Ah,
If you become a defaulter,
they own it.
mm,
Now, anyway, there is also a lack of transparency in this China whatever business that they are doing. First of all, we know that the terms and conditions of China's loans to African countries are often opaque and shrouded in secrecy, making it difficult for citizens, policymakers, and civil society organizations to access, of course, the full extent of the financial obligation and risks involved. This lack of transparency can undermine accountability and increase the likelihood of corruption and mismanagement of funds. This is exactly what I was saying. Um, we wake up one time in the morning, all we know, of course, the vice president of China met with a whatever, to sign an oil deal. Isn't that what we hear on the news?
mm,
So people go ahead and sign, all right? Nobody tells us what happened. Don't we have the right to know? Is that how it happens? So whatever is discussed, and usually they are discussing these things, one on one in camera. There is no third party. There is no another party. You go to the office, you talk, you decide. They sign the contract. The next time we only hear that, all right, this game park was taken because of the previous contract, but what was in the contract? Was it so vital? Was it needed? Was it so important? This is the lack of transparency. Now we know that China's loan to Africa countries, particularly for large-scale infrastructure projects, can contribute to unsustainable levels of debt. Now, African countries may struggle to repay these loans, especially if the projects fail to generate sufficient economic returns, or if external factors such as commodity price, infrastructure, fluctuations, or economic downturns affect their ability to generate revenue. Now, Chinese funded infrastructure projects in Africa often rely heavily on Chinese labor, materials, and technology, limiting the opportunities for local employment. We know that this is what I was talking about. We know that we have people who are producing things locally, but when the Chinese, of course, when the Chinese start their projects, they rely heavily on Chinese labor.
mm,
They rely heavily on Chinese labor, materials, and technology.
mm,
We don't see a lot of people, we don't see a lot of Africans are being employed with the Chinese, more especially the professionals. They will, of course, employ these other people who are doing the last jobs. Um, but most of the even the raw materials, they decide to get from the Chinese. Now we know that Chinese funded infrastructure projects in Africa have been criticized for their negative environmental and social impacts, which include deforestation, habitat destruction, displacement of communities, and violation of labor rights. The lack of environmental and social safeguards in China's loan agreement can exacerbate these impacts and lead to long-term environmental degradation and social unrest. We have had there is one forest in China, sorry, in Kenya that was typically exploited by the Chinese. They were taking the timber, drying the entire place down. They were doing everything possible. Like I said, they are always so greedy in whatever they are doing. They spoil everything, like they don't want that thing to come back. They are so greedy with they want to have everything. Take everything to the root and harvest the entire root. so that nothing should even, of course, germinate from there. Of course, the labor, we have seen Chinese even beating African laborers. Mm. They are fighting them, they are beating them, they are caning them like young children. Grown up men are being mistreated, being boxed, being fought with, of course, their Chinese bosses. Where does that happen in China where black people be beating Chinese? I've never seen that before. But I think they have too much privilege that they no longer respect black people. Come down. Hold up.
Mm.
Now, by relying heavily on Chinese loans and investment, African countries may become um, increasingly dependent on China for their economic development and infrastructure needs, of course. This dependence can limit their ability to pursue independent development strategies, to diversify their resource of financing and safeguard their sovereignty and, of course, national interests, which we have, of course, lost due to this very loans.
So, so one may ask that how have all these countries, China and European countries, made Africa poor? How have they made we stay backward? However much they talk about that, of course, Africans are poor, Africans are stupid, Africans don't understand, Africans they are, you know, China's role in Africa, we know that investment volume, China has become a major player in African investments. Its engagement with the continent is characterized by substantial investment projects, efficient execution, and of course, a distinct discourse on trade and investment. All these that are things that could have been done here, that could have been by normal people in Uganda, by average people, sorry, in Uganda, they're done by Chinese. We see people used to, of course, do uh, people used to trade from, of course, from Uganda and China. People used to do that trade, but we see today that China bring in goods in Uganda directly. They bring goods from China to Uganda. It's not the case like someone has to go to China now. They now bring things here because they are also citizens of the country. So we see that the paradigm shift China's investment approaches differs from that of the global players, including Europe, and it has created that shift in terms of volume, speed, and efficiency. So, however, if Africa doesn't assert its urgency and enforce investment laws, China gains more at Africa's expense by actively participating and enforcing regulations. Africa can achieve the trilateral win-win outcome for itself, China, and the EU. So, in all these investments China is doing, it is China that is winning in this. It is only China that is gaining in this. Um, the reason why China is gaining in this is because we don't have investment laws in African countries. We don't focus on such. We don't have laws that govern investment. Like if you're investing in this country, how are you going to benefit and how are citizens going to benefit? African countries, they don't look at this. They don't focus on this. How is Africa going to, of course, gain in such investments that are done um, that are done by these countries, China and friends who come here in the name of investing and developing Africa. I don't know. These people have been investing in Africa, but for a long time, starting from colonial period, even the days before. Why is it that Africa is not developing at the expense of these people? they are gaining more in Africa than we may think. So the European Union engagement in African issues, we know that there are historical ties. The EU has a long history of engagement with Africa. Despite this, Africa remains one of the poorest and least industrialized parts of the world. Yet there is that connection, there is that interaction between Europe and Africa, starting from, of course, the colonial period. But we still see Africa as one of the most poorest areas of the world. Some of We see Africa as one of the least industrialized areas of the world. Yet there is that connection. Why is it that the Western countries, European countries, they are the countries that are gaining this? These are the countries that are getting, they are fetching a lot of money from Africa year by year. But we still see Africa, like Africa is still backward. African people are poor. Africa, we don't have standardized industries. We don't have standard infrastructure. Why is it that even after having that chance, if at all these people they are rich, if at all these people they are wishing good for Africa, why is it that we don't see developments we see in those countries? Yet these people were here for some good time. These people were here for 100 years, but they did nothing to Africa, rather stealing and destroying African soil. So um, we see that trade partnerships in 2020, the EU was Africa's largest trade partner, accounting for 28% of both exports and imports. Sorry. So China followed closely with 12% higher imports and 20% higher exports than the EU. However, there is no direct African investment flow to China. Why is it that Africans we don't have that chance to go and invest in China? You can never see like an African whenever whenever they lay out statistics, you can't see Africans engaging in investments in China. Why is it that we see EU and other friends like China coming to Africa to do investments, of which investments that are not even helping Africans? So we see that marginalizations, historically, Africa faced marginalization within the world's economy, leading to exclusion from important international economic institutions dominated by other countries. So um, we see that African countries lag behind in infrastructure compared to other nations. China's investments can address actually this gap, but they back their investments with, of course, minerals. So it is like something which is personal interested, like a personal interest issue. If at all we can't get, we have that gap even up to now. And for you to go to make infrastructures in my country, I'll have to back my minerals with what you're going to do in my country. We see civil unrests in African countries. These are, of course, because of some loans, because of this support that is given out by by these Western European and China countries. So some African countries like Zambia have experienced civil strife in response to an influx of China companies in, of course, Zambia, because we see a lot of companies in Zambia, Chinese companies in Zambia. It is Chinese that are working within these industries, these companies in Zambia. We don't see any native of Zambia working within these companies. How are Africans going to uplift ourselves, if at all, even when these people they intend to bring investments in Africa, it is intended to benefit them.
Sorry, I didn't put that.
Hmm?
So was going. So Bagamoyo is in Tanzania.
So even a lot of questions have been posed that is it that Africa, like China, is helping Africa, or it is a new form of colonialism?
I feel like it's a new form. Not the Chinese keep on you saying their tactic of alone or it is a win to win tactic, but I feel it's I feel it's I feel it's what it's a form of colonialism. You know, Chinese themselves have, of course, when you give out such kind of loans with an aim of confiscating apparently everything or making the person taking this loan you a slave. That means it's another new form of slavery in form of loans. And actually, we have realized that Chinese usually, by the time they come to Africa, they already know what they want. All right, they know what they want. They come with intentions, and those intentions, unfortunately, uh, the African governments do not really see them at that time because I think we are so much concentrating on the need of getting these loans and this money and forgetting what these people want in return. And I think that is the most important thing because you are the one who is owning the things. They are your resources. So before the resources are here to stay, the resources are more valuable than any infrastructure, by the way. And first of all, it is not that we lack engineers. So there is no excuse to what China is doing to this whole China Africa connection. You know, there is no excuse to that because apparently we have engineers who can construct, you know, roads. We have seen African countries that have beautiful infrastructure. Why not use those engineers to develop whichever infrastructure you want? But still, we are seeing the same thing. Nigeria is also borrowing. South Africa is doing the same. You know, this issue of borrowing is also not even only with these big things, but when people are so easy to borrow stuff, then this kind of people are very hard to develop. Because each time, well, the moment you borrow something, it doesn't belong to you until you pay it. You understand? And in Africa, there is no end of payment until now. And the funniest thing, as you haven't even finished the other date, you are taking another. Even like our country is having like 7, 10 different date phases, which does not make sense. And these people make sure they try so very hard to make sure that you don't pay these dates. They try to make sure that you don't pay, you fail to pay these dates because it's important to fail, by the way.
I don't know why people say that China, like they're seeing China's existence now in Africa. Yet China has been in Africa for some good time,
Mm,
for some good time. But
mm,
people look at China as as a country that that has that like that has that has come to Africa now. China has been in Africa for some good time,
mm.
like good time. So China has actually complex and multifaceted relationship with Africa. It is the continent is for by now largest trading partner and source of foreign direct investment. So China interests in Africa include um, natural resources, trade, security, and diplomacy and soft power. So China's involvement in Africa has also raised questions about very many people because China, that is how things start. They start with investing. Things start with of course trading, and they end up into political influence and media presence, because we have seen military bases in African countries. We have seen military bases in African countries. Why are these military bases for China existing in African countries? So China has become Africa's largest trade partner, like said, and has greatly expanded its economic ties to the continent. But its growing activities, they have raised a lot of questions. So China, we see that over the past few decades in Africa, we see that China's rapid economic growth and expanding middle class have fueled the unprecedented need for resources. So the economic powerhouse has focused on securing the long-term energy supplies needed to sustain its industrialization, searching for secure access to oil supplies and other raw materials around the globe. So, as part of this effort, China has turned to Africa through significant investment in the continent known for political and security risks. So, China has boosted Africa's oil and mining sector in exchange for advantageous trade deals and profitable deals that are aiming at China. So China companies are also diversifying their business pursuits in Africa in infrastructure, manufacturing, telecommunication, and agriculture sectors. But all this in the gain in profitizing the Chinese. So China's activities in Africa has faced, of course, criticism from anywhere because the Chinese can exploit. We know the French exploited Africa. We know the British exploited Africa, but the Chinese.
Calm down. Scatter, stop looking all crazy. Ain't nobody gonna attack me about grasshoppers. As soon as I get in, he look all scared. He's gonna attack me about my grasshopper eating.
No, I'm gonna tell you, how did that pass?
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm not gonna bother you.
Keith, how are you doing?
Of course, there's no African country with no base in China. You think these bootlicking cowardly Negroes would ask, say, dang it, can we put a base in your country? China say, nigga, if you don't get out of my face talking this stupid shit. No, there's no African base nowhere outside of Africa, Jibber Jabber. No one would never tolerate that. Especially not from the African. No, absolutely not. Only African people are meant to be colonized. They're not going to, what? Can I get an African base here? Hey, look in the mirror. What? Because you a nigga. That's why. Ask me no dumbass shit. Can you get a base in my country? No. Now go away. Yeah, but they can't build no base in any other country until they build manufacturing in goddamn Africa. Do that first. Build some goddamn some damn ways to extract the minerals in the richest continent. Stop having white people, Chinese people, other people do your roads and build shit for you. Africa hasn't grown up as a people yet to put bases anywhere. Bases in it. You ain't got no African with a base in another African's country, let alone outside the continent. Does Ghana got a base in Uganda? Hell no. Does Kenya got a base in South Africa? Hell no. Does Namibia got a base in Tanzania? Hell no. So do that first. Gotta grow. We fallen as a people until we start raising back up. Then these things can be completed. Hey, let me know if you guys want me to come on after Seto and Maria. I'll come on later on the night. Later on the night would be better. I was asking them, do they want me to come on later after you guys get done with your show? But I was thinking about coming on later tonight because let them get home first. You know, see, our time different. For me, it's only almost 1 o'clock. For you guys, it's like 9 o'clock or something almost. Well, almost 8 o'clock. You guys almost 8 o'clock. So I'll probably come on later on tonight. Let everybody get home. You know, so and we're gonna be on the network. We're not gonna be on YouTube, TikTok, none of that shit. Because we're going real tonight. We're gonna talk about what's really going on. We're gonna be on none of these enemy platforms. We gotta go home. We're gonna be on nothing but the network. So I'm gonna come in and tell everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever we at, come over to you got 5 minutes to make it to the network. We'll go live on the network. We'll do the show live on the network. We're not gonna be on none of any of these platforms. It's gonna be real, rugged, and raw. Shout out to this white man. Those white people waking up. As I've been saying for years that you cannot see on no YouTube. I'm gonna play this video when we tonight on the network. They know what's going on. A lot of people, you start fucking with this white man, he start know what's good. He ain't like black people. Black people stay in poverty. Oh my God, what's going on? Is Jesus coming? Is Allah coming? They'll say all that dumb shit. when you put the white man against the wall, he wants to know, whoa, what's going on? Why am I getting treated like these niggas? He starts looking up. And yeah, shout out to this white guy. I'm gonna play his whole video tonight on the network. So say what I've been saying for years. And that's the fact. Who actually runs this planet? They start to know who runs this planet. Who runs Africa? It ain't just the white man. There's certain people that run Africa who actually wanted Uganda 100 years ago. Who actually wanted Uganda. She's never going to make their new you know what there. Those people. Okay? What everybody's scared to say who owns the World Bank? Who owns the IMF? Who owns the shit? It ain't owned by no government. Who owns the Bank of International Settlements? It ain't owned by no government. Who owns it then? Who owns it? Who's writing the book telling Petro that King Leopold was a hero? Who's doing that? We're going to talk about who's doing it tonight. And see, now white people are hurting. They all crying on TikTok. I can't survive. I can't pay the bills. Oh, my live. You see them in Canada, America, England, France, Australia. I can't survive. I can't pay the bills. You got me living like these niggas. What's going on? What kind of life is this? And what you see, you guys see them videos over and over again that I talk with or hit hard by gross. Yeah, look on the video, the guy was showing what was happening in Canada too. A lady was talking about, remember, because we unfairly taxed. So she was paying $1,000 for food before 3 kids can barely pay it, and the Canadian government said, we don't give a shit. You can't feed your kids. You better pay your goddamn taxes. You better pay us first. If you got to max out your credit cards, she started crying. Said, you were literally asking me to take food out my baby's mouth. You goddamn right. That's what we're asking you to do. So, yeah, they never used to talk to like this exactly, because now they're living like black people on the continent and off the continent. You got Negroes, don't you know, they running to Europe and shit, don't know everybody fucked up in Europe and America. I want to get out of Africa. Negro, do you know what's happening in Europe? Do you understand what's happening in Canada, America, Australia, where you want to run to? France, Germany. You understand what the fuck is going on? No, you don't. Hell, you still think you like Steto. You still run around eating bugs and thinking King Leopold was your buddy. So, yeah, I just bought some groceries. I'm so glad my children are grown. They better not come for no damn money all the time because daddy got money. Nigga, I ain't got no money. Fuck wrong with y'all? So I'm so glad. I don't know how people have kids today, jibber jabber in America. I don't know how they doing it. I can, because I have 5 kids. I can imagine having to feed these motherfuckers groceries no damn more. The price, I'm about my. I didn't buy nothing. About like 4 items, $100. 4 items, $100 by myself. I'll eat that shit up like in 20 minutes. What? That's how high these prices are gone, and that's why I feel kind of sad for Katie's stupid ass. Her dumb ass didn't realize. What the fuck are you in Africa, you moron? When you don't got no job and you want to talk that stupid shit? Now you don't know the whole world is suffering. Me, the food banks are maxed out. Exactly. You see people standing in line in Florida at the food bank. Right. They're in the food banks trying to get food for free. And they're maxed out because they don't got any money here. Yeah, most Americans don't got no damn gardens. Most of these morons don't even know how to garden. They don't know how to put a seed in the ground. They're gonna be mosquitoes and all kind of bugs like Seto ass. Shit. I don't know, whatever. I know it's bad. I'm hungry. You'll see my books like chasing grass, hoppers, and crickets. All kind of and only sell items. Yeah, so you buy it in bulk. Me, what I did, I sold my car. My neighbors wanted to buy it, so I need to keep Black Eye Fire open. So I took their money, put it back into the company. So I sold my car. So and these companies are evil. So I got to go online and I do my shopping at Walmart. I don't know if Sam's Club delivered. They probably do. Especially if if you buy bulk, if you buy a bunch of it, it's cheaper. That's right. But I'm just one person. I don't know if I can buy in bulk. That shit would go all bad by the time. It would go bad by the time I get it. By the time I eat it, if I buy in bulk, I don't have kids no more. How do I keep that shit fresh? It all gets spoiled and old if I buy in bulk. But I buy in Walmart. That's the enemy. So I have and funny that I had groceries being delivered at 2:00 today. Got four items for $100. I'm like, what? I looked at that bill. I'm like, what? sound like Joby. What? What? Yes, they do Costco. So Costco delivers. Okay, I know. So Costco, I figured Sam's Club probably deliver. So probably did. But I ain't had that account. I wonder if they still got my account since I divorced my goofy ass wife years ago. You know, I wonder if my it was a joint account. I wonder if I wonder if they still got it. But I don't know where to keep no bulk. I'm not home enough. I'm gone all the time, so I don't know where to keep bulk food at and where to stay fresh. Won't that shit spoil? Yeah. It's cheaper to buy in bulk, buy a bunch of shit at one time, but where to be fresh. So the whole world is suffering. So I said, why the hell would you lose a job where everybody suffers? Can't nobody pay no bills. And you see how most Americans have decided not to pay their taxes. Most Americans at the end of the day, they're refusing to file their taxes. Right? I ain't filed my taxes. I'm not giving you no money. Again. Did you file your taxes? I sure enough didn't. That's right. JEW2. I sure didn't file no taxes. Fuck you. Did you file your taxes with America? Nope, sure didn't. Sure didn't. I'm always gonna be honest over. Did I file my taxes yet? Nope. Nope. Sure didn't. I didn't file no damn taxes. The answer is no. Hell no. Not get a dime for me to commit genocide in Ukraine, genocide and goddamn fucking the Black Palace, I don't give a shit about the fake White Palace. The black people you don't show TV that you're bombing that still live there. You're not getting my goddamn tax money to kill other Africans. You got me fucked up. So did I file taxes? The answer is no. YouTube and YouTube know I'm telling the truth. They know my did I file taxes? They already know. No. The answer is hell no. Think I'm gonna give you money to go kill other African people? Fuck that. Go ahead, Seth, you guys. I'm gonna interrupt the thing. See your line. I see your line popped on in here. Not about give me some grasshoppers and put it in a pot, make a stew out and shit. Hey, Seth, you guys make grasshopper stew. You guys put in the stew too, like a soup.
No. What's your name?
I mean, that'd be disgusting. Hope not. That look disgusting as shit. Grasshoppers in a soup. Oh, yeah. What's this, man? It's grasshopper soup, man. You need to get you some of that. Nah, I'm good. You eat all of it. You don't have to share. You don't have to share none of that with me. I'm good. You can be selfish. Take all of it. Take it to the church. Give it to the pastor. Let him eat that shit. Go ahead, you guys. You guys got it.
Thank you.
What you guys talking about anyway? Stop taking African resources for loan aid. Well, yeah, of course not. They own bank. They set up this system. Who? I wonder who. Oh, the same people who want to say they want Uganda. Those people. The people you can't say. The people that are committing genocide right now up in Palestine. Those fucking people. Those people who say that they are the people of God. The people of God. Those people.
And then you know the issue we are having now. You know, there is a time where we discussed about China's economy was falling. It had a high unemployment at that time, but now it is growing rapidly, 5.2%. It is growing rapidly because of tapping Africa's minerals.
Minerals too, but it's still not growing. They're still not employing nobody. And I told you, shout out to the people who realize on TikTok. Everybody started told you what I told you. China's a fake made-up country. Yes. Even the Chinese are talking about it on TikTok. Yeah. You better know who created China to power. It's the cats with the small hats that wanted Uganda. I was surprised like hell to see the Chinese guy talk about the real history, how they put them on drugs. I told you when the British Empire, but who controlled the British Empire? Who controlled it? Who controls the city of London? City of London ain't part of England. The London city is, but there's a city inside of London called the City of London. You can look that up. Google ain't hide that yet. Look up what is the City of London. Oh, I probably can do it myself. Let me see here. Where my screen?
What is the city of London?
What is the City of London?
Okay.
There you go. City of London, widely preferred as just the city. Yeah, let me go. Let me show you. Let's see what it is. Okay, let me share my screen real quick, just so you guys know what's actually how the world actually really runs, not the bullshit you were taught in your schools. Let me share my screen. Here you go.
Okay.
Let me share my screen real quick. Let me see here. Okay. Let me know when my screen is being shared. Let me know.
Okay.
So you guys see this?
Yep.
The City of London is a historical financial district, home of both the Stock Exchange and the Bank of England. Now, who owns the Bank of England? The motherfucking British don't own it, and damn sure the King and Queen don't own it. Who owns it? So it says the Bank of England, modern corporate skyscraper towers above the vestige of medieval alleyways below, affluent workers, in smart restaurants and bars, tourists visit iconic. Well, who owns the shit? Okay, let's see it. What is considered? What are the two cities of London exactly? See, one is exactly the cities of London and Westminster. One is London City, where everybody can go. One is the city of London, owned by the Rothschilds. Okay, owned by the Rothschilds, who own Africa, who own America, who own Canada, who own Europe. These motherfuckers. And they are cats with the small hats. Remember, who created Israel? Oh, the Rothschilds. So I'm trying to be candid and let you know who actually runs this planet. Is London in the city? Is London a city in the U.S.? No. Is the city of London its own capital? Yes. The city, as it is known, it's known as the city. City, as it's known as, is only a component, relatively small in area of the larger urban area known as London. The area corresponds closely to that of the ancient city from which modern London has grown. It's the financial, exactly. It's the financial hub of the world. Okay, it is the financial hub of the world. Has nothing to do with any Britannica saying right here. History of the UK. The city of London is not in Britain. It's its own government. It's its own place. Let me get out of there. It's its own place. It has nothing to do with those British opiums were, yeah. But see, the British opium, they said it wasn't, remember, trade wasn't controlled by the white by the white British jibber jabber. It wasn't controlled by any white British. It was controlled by, you can't say their names, the people, the cats with the small hats. They didn't control that trade. That trade was controlled. And shout out to the Chinese guy on TikTok who actually knew it, was put it together. Said, nah, these are the motherfuckers that put us on drugs. Yeah, Chinese man. Those people. People that created your country today. Those people. People that's robbing motherfuckers right now in Gaza. And Black Africans in Gaza, right? Those people. Yeah. They started the opium wars. Yeah, that's right. Washington, D.C., City of London, Vatican are their own countries. Exactly. They are in a trimester. City of Washington, D.C. is not part of the United States. That's right. The Vatican is not part of Italy. And the City of London is not part of England. This is the trifecta of evil controlled by the City of London. See, London is the financial arm, is the military arm. That's why you got it's the military arm, and the Vatican is the religious arm to the Pope. and the Vatican Church all set up as wicked ass parts to run the planet. Exactly right, Jibber Jabber. But most morons don't have no clue about this at all. They think the Vatican has something to do with that fake Jesus they worship. Yeah, okay. Okay, moron. That's what they told you when they brought the apple. You're worshiping Jesus. And then you got Washington, D.C. It's the military arm. City of London through the Rothschilds is the financial hub of the world. Washington, D.C. is the military hub. And the Vatican is the fake religion. Keep control of the planet. That's why they're gonna ban TikTok. Because TikTok is waking up too many these niggas on the continent and everybody else. And they don't want to ban it. See, I told you when I went digging, guess who wants to buy it? The cats with the small hats one. Talking about it was a Chinese. It's a Chinese app called it's the Chicom. Who they created China, but it's the Chicom. We must protect the data from the Chinese people. That's bullshit. It's a lie. Then you go behind, who's trying to buy it up? See, they didn't tell you that the Jews own most of it. They don't own all of it. BlackRock and Vanguard own most of it. But they don't own all of it. They want to go like they do YouTube. We only got one person. This shit, Jimmy Jack. They want to do like they do YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. They want to have a back door and change the algorithm. So when you get to talking about real things and talking about them, you shut down. So they want to own it outright. They own the majority of it. They don't have control of it. They want complete control of TikTok. And they got a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google. They own all of it. That's why we got this TikTok thing. It's the chat guys is going against the national security. All lies, nonsense. Then you find out who wants to buy the rest of it. Oh, the same fucking people that own YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and all other kind of shit. You got black, like I had Joby look up Nollywood. Joby actually thought these niggas own Nollywood. I said, Joby, I'm not gonna let these niggas own no real media. They don't own no Nollywood. These dumbass out here don't own no Nollywood. The white man owns that, and besides the real white man, they didn't name them. The small cats with the small hats on Nollywood. You think black people make movies all fucked up about black people bleaching? Everybody black look all crazy on the Nollywood movies. They've been bleaching 20 times over. Hate being black. They got them fucked up movies they be wearing on them Nollywood movies. Blacks don't own no Nollywood in Nigeria. She looked it up like, what? Like, they don't own it.
How about you go?
Say again, Marie. Yeah. But see, that's what's bad. They don't want to ban it. They want to buy it. They're saying they want to ban it, but they want to buy it. Because especially with that's why they moving to Africa. I told you TikTok is the most dangerous app. I knew when I first got. Remember, I knew when I first got on that. I was like, I was going to be on. I got on TikTok. I first got on back in June, and I seen African youth talking truth on us. That this is the most dangerous motherfucking app. They're gonna have to ban and shut this shit down. You got these youth in Africa talking what they know what the fuck is going on. Well, that's what, and I knew it. I said, they gonna try to ban this shit. TikTok is the first app I see in real time. No matter where you at, showed you what's going on the world without no damn fake ass filter, no fake news, no government propaganda. That's why it's busy. And I got on and I seen these young Africans from Nigeria to Uganda. Like when I gave Maria that lady from Uganda, she was a Bobby Wine nut though. When I tried to help her, she called me, you're no good. She called me a no good dirty mulatto. I said mulatto. I'm not a mulatto lady. That Ugandan lady called me no good, no good, dirty mulatto.
Well,
Just because I said,
I was telling you, but you were not believing. You don't believe.
no, I know. Marie told me, no, this lady's wrong. She blah blah. She's not gonna just tell about Bobby Wine. So I said, I did tell. I said Bobby Wine's a puppet man. You don't know good dirty mulatto. You don't try to tell me about my Bobby Wine. I'm like, damn, that lady you got no good dirty mulatto. This,
Ah.
this she unfollowed me and then blocked my. She unfollowed me from TikTok and then she blocked my account. Maria was right. I said, ma'am, Bobby Wine's a puppet. He's not. Like, you're not gonna talk about our savior, our president. You a no good dirty mulatto anyway. A mulatto. Mulatto lady. Oh, my parents are African.
Africa is, we are having that problem. Everyone would see as someone who has the voice, the knowledge, is still defending the wrong person. Apparently, people haven't fully woken up to see the matrix, because
Exactly.
these people have different signs, of course, but there are those particular signs we look in people and then realize that this is the puppet who is coming in another image.
Exactly.
Of recently, everyone was debating like how come Bob Wine, it was possible for Bob Wine to have a bulletproof car,
Mm.
and when the customs, of course, hijacked the car, it was the president of Uganda, Museveni, actually, who had to order them to let Bobi Wine's car go. And then
Exactly.
people can still understand that these guys are playing a shitty game. And at
Yeah.
times I'm like, guys, are you for real? Everything's clear.
Yep.
Everything's just so clear. You can see who is working with who. Because
Mhm.
truth to be said, that by the way, Bobi Wine was never tortured.
Mm.
But there is this messenger we have ever seen really tortured. There is a lot of comments.
Mm.
Then you start, you pour the sand on your face, you pour the dust on your face, and then they take cameras. There is a lot of comedy in Africa's, politics, and unfortunately, a lot of Africans are using their emotions to
Maria,
judge.
exactly.
They, they,
Maria,
they,
if Bobby Wine was actually a threat to the 70s, they would have been killed him. Why is he always running around, escaping from prison, escaping from his house arrest, and then
exactly.
exactly.
So
If
that
he was really
I remember there is time he said that his balls were pressed. He cannot father. He cannot have kids anymore. My balls are in buses. And people with that sympathy, people, are feeling sorry. All the women are crying. They're imagining if it was their husband whose balls were. Everyone is making decisions with emotions, and I'm like, what? Actually, and then he says the things and then goes back and eats his very words, which doesn't make sense. It's not, but this by the way is not only about Uganda, and I think it is so much loud because Uganda has a big population of young people. So we are not so exposed into this the matrix world. We don't understand what we don't even read. We don't want to read books. We don't want to listen to stories. We fancy watching movies and all kind of entertainment things. And this is the problem. So when you meet such a nation, then it is easy for you to blackmail the people to foolishly, of course, play with their mind. And this is what is going on. Africans don't have that time. We are here on Black Hot Fire Network. Even if we are to share like shows like this to Africans, few of them would come to watch. They don't have the time. Everything that is so educated, they don't have time for it. Except we shall have grown up people who are like in their 50s, 60s, are having that time to sit. And then these are the people who even have no time. by the time they leave work, because at that time in Africa, that age, people are still working. They leave work, they want to come to bed and sleep. If I told they are to give you their ear, it's going to be for something like 20 minutes. And the best thing they do is watching news. The moment news is over, everyone is retiring to bed. So we are living in in the Africa's generation where apparently young people don't want to be educated. A generation where young people don't listen. A generation where we don't want to research. We take gossip for truth. Where we don't challenge our mind to think. Where we don't question people's actions. And this is why we still have, you know, wrong leaders, of course, are still leading us. Because we are easily taken by anything. The moment they start gathering all the youth, we are going to give you, some stupid things actually. All right, so apparently you can line up for 50. Somebody's going to say, I'm going to buy a shoe, definitely a canvas shoe. Oh, you're forgetting you're going to buy that canvas, but where are you walking with that canvas? In the dust, in mud. Within a few months, the canvas are worn out. You cannot even afford them anymore. And this is the problem most of us have. And I think that leaders who come into power, really, you will look at someone talking vibrantly, and then you'll be like, yeah. And then there is this Julius Malema of South Africa. He's also a West. I don't know why he's talking with all his, veins strained, talking bogus and nonsense things all the time. I've been listening to Malema for a very long time, and now he has started making Africa tours. Recently, he was in
Kenya.
Kenya.
They opened a school, a Pan African school.
You're opening a Pan African school for what? Are you a Pan African?
Mm.
That word Pan African is not all about Molema. First of all, he can never say words from his mouth. Even the mere words of encouragement he reads. All right, even mere things that someone would say without reading, Molema reads.
Mm.
Well, when he was in that conference in Kenya, I was like, what is going on? Apparently, every word he mentioned, he read. For all the experience he has been having in this political world, why was he reading everything? Because these people don't have whatever they are saying at heart. I don't need to have documented, words on a paper to come and talk about the sufferings that are happening in Congo. Me, I don't need to write something to come and talk about what is happening in Uganda. I don't need to write anything to come and talk about how Africa is being exploited. I don't need to write because this is the feel I have. This is the dissatisfaction feeling that is in me. I don't need to write. So how can you tell me to do Malema? Why? But that is anyway Africa's politics, and they know the kind of people they are addressing to. So I know
Yep.
if we
Him
wanna
is another fake puppet. He's another puppet.
thinking is tough, Maria. Be a pastor, but become a bishop. Colorism is will become a bishop, be a pastor, they will let time. Thinking is tough, what's cancer failure for it? City of London, everywhere, much. I'm thinking it's tough. I don't know. But at times, at times there are things I don't know, maybe it's me. Once you learn you have to progress afterwards. It's easy to be down. I guess. Okay, it is funny, but I guess it's funny, but yeah, I believe with GB Jabba. By the way, I don't know, but what is what is there to think, about what is going on? We are experiencing people. We have experienced this. We have seen people go through tough times. We have basically been through tough times. Because somebody is like, someone like you asking me to apparently have a speech, maybe about what is going on in Uganda right now, and I have to sit and I start writing. Really, where do I live? Where do I live? And then you ask me about what is. I don't need even because I'm not having unless the speech is like for 6 hours, which cannot even happen.
Mm.
You understand? But you're having a speech that is even 30 minutes, and you still have to write something. There are a lot of struggles that Africa is going through that we don't need to write. These things even a little child can notice. So you don't tell me you come to Kenya with your small notes you're reading. Those are our leaders. We've got some Mvako. Where are you at?
So Africa transforming into the Africa that is needed for we. It is something that has to be uh, like we don't need to focus. And we don't need to focus on the people that we are looking at as role models. You have been talking about Malema, the Malema guy. He's always preaching and uses a lot of power. Energy. I don't know how old is that guy.
He's spitting on the microphone all the time.
Uses a lot of energy, preaching fake things for Africa. Now, look at that. Now, how will kids, how will youths look at such a guy as someone who is going to liberate the country, as someone who is focusing on African issues? How are people going to take that person serious?
And then we is one among the people who are threatening that it is okay for Russia if Russia wants to come to, of course, Africa. Russia is so stupid. Russia is so welcome. And you cannot talk about there is no excuse to Africa in introducing such kind of people to Africa, because all we need is that unity and understanding that we have everything that will make it possible for us to evolve. We have been talking about China issuing out loans to Africa on expenses of it exploiting Africa's minerals. We saw where Congo, of course, came in and complained that we made a deal with China to construct our mining company, but again, we have not received what we are supposed to receive, what we bargained for. So China was exploiting Congo, and it is still exploiting Congo for a long time, until we are seeing Tshisekedi coming in the picture, and he says he wants to reform this agreement that they had at that time. Now, if at all we have such first of all, China knows very well. China knows very, very well the riches and the wealth and the power that Africa possesses. You can see the moment China touched Africa, its GDP started growing rapidly. Now it is at 5.2. Growing rapidly. The last time we checked, China was falling. China had high rates of unemployment. And I remember I spoke this year on Black Hotfire Network, and I gave them a 1 year span that China is going to change. The same way United Kingdom did, the same way America did, the same way France did. So everybody knows there is no way you can touch Africa and remain the same. The greed they have for Africa is too much, because they understand Africa more than the Africans themselves. Now, if at all China has been able to tap a little, because it is tapping a little by not even a quarter of what Africa has, and it has managed to change the entire Beijing, the entire China. as a whole. Then how about you, Africa, who possesses this? I think we are lacking that. We are lacking people who are standing out broadly to fight and protect Africa's resources. And this agreement that are signed by China, all right? We only see, okay, we have had this, of course, the Minister of Finance and whatever, meeting the Vice President of Uganda to discuss this. And the entire country doesn't know what exactly are the terms and conditions of these discussions. The economists in the country don't really know. So China has that debt trap method it has, and it has really worked in Africa. China still has that method. It comes with the method China uses are so untransparent. They are not transparent, all right, because they tell you one thing and do the another. They tell you this and they do another. They tell you something, they do a different thing. This is very well seen in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Apparently, other ministers, other leaders in Africa are so scared of like talking about it. But I feel like this Minister of Economics in Democratic Republic of Congo was fed up. He felt like enough is enough. And this is what Africans are going through, except that most of these, leaders are a little bit scared. All right, because when China is coming, usually it signs deals with the big man, the president. So you cannot be a minister. Of course, we are appointed because most of these ministers are appointed by the president. All right, so they are not, they are not, of course, elected through the parliament. In Africa, most of the ministers are chosen by the president. So everyone is trying to secure their position. So if I start debating about the Chinese agreement with, of course, Uganda or Democratic Republic of Congo, Tanzania, or Kenya, or Nigeria, whatever, Angola, they're always so scared that if they do that, probably their positions can be taken away from them since they were not electoral. So we are, and I know the African leaders and know exactly what is going on. And the Chinese are in a hurry. They are in a hurry to exploit everything. You can see the way they act. The guys, they are like locusts in a green land. They are like locusts in vegetation. The guys want to eat apparently everything. They are in a hurry. They are running. They know what they are doing is not right. And probably at the same time, at a certain time, people will wake up to maybe decide to end this. So they are in a hurry. Chinese are so destructive. They are so destructive. I'm not saying because if at all we are to talk about the infrastructure, I would love to say China is building Africa infrastructure. I would love to see a strong infrastructure, a beautiful infrastructure. But they are bringing substandard things, really. What is there to be proud of? What roads are there for Africa to be proud of? Like, okay, China has done this and we are extremely proud. At least I'm not seeing that in Uganda, though. So you cannot be taking extremely expensive things and producing cheap things. If at all you are talking about, okay, China uses a win-win method, where is Africa winning? Because I don't really understand when you talk about the win-win method. Where is Africa
We talked
winning?
about the claims Congo is having, the issues Congo is having with China. China promised to build infrastructure
They
as
did.
worth a million.
But how many? Sorry. They promise you something, they give you a different thing entirely. It's crazy, by the way. Not even you are going far. When you're talking about Congo, you are going far. Talk about this Uganda. When did they build this road? That even they opened and the Chinese ministers and everyone were there. The road is even, you cannot even look at it twice. It is something that the Chinese haven't even left yet. Even the exploitation, even the collateral they took has not even reached quarter. But the road is already gone. It has already vanished. The potholes, there is no tarmac, there is no, and you're like, all the lights are gone, there are no more lights. They said they're giving solar, all the solars are dead. they're bringing substandard materials to build something that they sign is extremely expensive. Well, what is the price of that most expensive fucking road? That is expensive, and you know, you can't pay.
Yeah.
And then you tell us, can you imagine if that road is that expensive? What have they taken to compensate for that road? The road which has not even been used for 2 years and it has already begun to have potholes. And you're saying it is the most expensive road in the world. Apparently, they are claiming that even China has never had that kind of road. I don't know. I really don't know. This is broad daylight theft. And I don't understand how we can be stupid to that level. We can be so bogus to that level. I don't understand how African leaders will proudly claim they are leaders walking and marching in those extremely expensive vehicles with no. At times when I talk about the things, I really feel so angry.
The Kampala Express Highway in Uganda holds the distinction of being the world's most expensive road.
Yes, sir.
Opened to traffic in June 2008. This remarkable actual infrastructure connects northern bypass at Busega to Uganda's international airport. So it is
where that passes here.
Yeah.
Here, towers.
Yeah. So it is like 9.2 actually 476 million US dollars.
476 million US dollars.
With a shocking cost of 9.2 million per kilometer.
Okay, this is laughable. I'm sorry. And this
9 million.2 per kilometer.
You can see what Chinese are doing.
US
and
by
US dollars,
yeah,
9 million.2 per kilometer US dollars. And this road, Zayoko, is very, very extreme. It has a length of 36.94 kilometers, divided into two sections. 24.9 kilometers, that is Kampala North Bypass. 12.04 kilometers, that is of course interchange by Itababiri, the other side in Tere. And then these are 50 kilometers. Bullshit. Stop, close that shit. There is no. So apparently Uganda has the most expensive fucking road in the whole world, which even looks like I really don't know. Okay. Chinese and their matrix and they are 15. And I don't know. So I think first of all, like I said, they don't bring professionals, right? And the moment they say such kind of a thing, and stupidly Africans will be like, wow, are you sure? So that is that. But have you looked at the architecture? And by the way, the architecture is always different, and we see a different thing. We saw that on a billboard. It even had that space of cars parking on the side. It was looking so, oh my God.
There is a way they dropped those things before the reality. They look beautiful. There is how they arrange cars around.
Well, I thought people who, of course, design these things have to design something that is close to that. And this road is not even close to the design they gave the nation. Because we had I remember that design, it was looking so beautiful. I go, oh, wow. If I told you, I think even whoever signed that contract thought that, I think for the first time they said Uganda must be on the map. Bullshit. And hey, there is no way that you can park the pedestrian. Yeah, there is a little bit cycle, the pedestrian. We opted to see where cyclists are also, of course, having, but I don't see any space for cyclists.
On the bypass.
because that thing came with that cyclist path where like people who are riding and the pedestrians, they have emptied their yeah, they have Trojan Java, they have emptied their jaws and sent them here, coming with their gonorrhea and every package, disgusting packages. Hey, and they're not professionals, so how can someone deliver such an architectural, image like the one we saw? How can such a person, how can unprofessional people deliver that? That road, even a young engineer could have made that road for sure. Even a Ugandan engineer could have made that road at even a cheaper price. You take raw materials, the raw materials are for the Chinese, and then boom. Then why do we have these construction raw material producing companies? If at all the constructions that are being done are majorly, of course, led by the Chinese, and then Chinese are not supporting local market or local raw material market or sorry, construction material market. So why do we have Hima Cement? Why do we have Tororo? Why do you have Uganda Tels? Why do we have all those people who are doing those things? Yet at the end of the day, the people who are having big projects where these local materials, local producers should sell their things are being owned by Chinese. And when the Chinese are coming, they come with their people. They start producing these very things. They don't even import them from China. They produce them from here. They use our raw materials that are cheap price, produce their tiles, produce everything that is needed to construct on an expensive price, selling them to the government.
I once asked myself that how do these Chinese engineers like transport all these people to Africa? Like you find a lot of Chinese.
But
You someone is working in a train, someone is sweeping the road. You saw a lot.
they empty all their jails, like
Like
Jibjaba was
I was
saying.
like, how do they transport all these people to Africa?
And I think they bring them
And
in those
by the way, there are
helicopters
some
and then
Chinese. There are some Chinese
cargo
now
plane.
who are speaking now in like our native language.
You have not looked.
Most of them they are speaking
Yeah,
in
they're
our
saying them. The guys don't want to go. The way those guys don't
they,
want to leave.
they speaking.
You'll find them speaking. They don't even use fork to eat anymore. They also wash their hands like and be eating. Not they don't use their sticks anymore. One time I went to very early, so I went to that hospital. It is Italian. It is sponsored by Italians, I think, but it has some good equipments and everything. So but the people working in that hospital, of course, are Africans. So I went there for checkup. We have a lot of Chinese at our home area along our side because of the minerals and everything. So I think he had the contracted fever, malaria. These people, malaria can treat. White people are scared of malaria. There, yeah, yeah, yeah. Even the Chinese, when the guy was shivering, I think he had even psychological trauma. He thought he was going to die. He came and all of us, you go meet the doctor and stuff. So we were waiting. The guy came shivering and he was asking the lady, am I going to die?
The Chinese.
Yeah, everyone has mad that am I going to die? Because he had malaria. So he was so sick.
You are scared. You are scared of that.
Yeah, there is a way malaria is projected out there that everyone is so afraid. But we can have malaria. For us, we can have malaria and have it for 9 months and you're walking and you know you're having malaria by that way. You just feel when your joints are doing you somehow. But still you will move until you are there until unless it is too much, yeah, at times. But so the Chinese man was shivering. He was shivering when he did Zamoya. And everyone was laughing and saying, "Oh dear, this man is scared of dying in Africa." I'm sorry,
Omuli.
eh, I mean,
So when we look at China, China's engagement, by the way, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, it like we can't take that thing for granted. We can't take it for granted. In exchange for resources, because it has been marked by both promises and challenges. We see that resource extraction in and investment in, of course, Congo. China promised a lot, Congo. China promised heaven and earth towards the Congolese government. So China has invested significantly in DRC's mining sector, particularly in extracting minerals like copper and cobalt. You will see a lot of Chinese extracting this in the promise of construction, because they promise to construct roads, they promise to construct a lot of infrastructures within Congo, which Congo has not done 100%, because Maria talked about how the minister that is actually related, the minister in, of course, in charge of the economic system in, of course, Congo's economy, the Minister of Finance and Economy in Congo, he raised concerns about China's failure to fulfill the promise. Yet they are mining, they are taking resources the way they want that are worthy billions of money. So reality, while China's investments have indeed increased, the concerns about the transparency, environment impact, and the terms of these deals. So we see that in exchange for access to resources, China pledged to build infrastructure worth billions of dollars in DRC. But the reality is that such as the new roads and power plants and schools have not full materialized. Some view these deals as poor value for the host country, Congo, because China promised to build schools, China promised to build power plants in, of course, Congo, but it has failed. Yet they are taking, of course, minerals in exchange. For them, they are not getting any losses out of this. But it is the mother country, it is Congo, that is falling into the ditch of China. We see that China offered the security assistance to protect its mining interests and nationals in volatile eastern regions of the DRC, with a lot of rebels in DR Congo. But the areas where China is mining the resources, we don't see instabilities within those areas. China is providing force that is protecting miners in that place, because all the mining activities, they are governed by Congo. So the Congolese army has been deployed to safeguard some of the Chinese mining assets, but even they can be hostile towards Chinese citizens. China non-interference policy has kept its force out of the direct engagement of African crises. If you can look at this, how even when they bomb a nearby area, China will never intervene, because it doesn't intervene. It focuses on what it like on what it brought on the reason of which it brought it to Africa or to Congo to mine. It doesn't look at how is your government system. It doesn't look at the political, who is the president of the company. Tonight family. Okay, Mr. Blackwood Fire, will be back tonight family. Okay, Jeep Jabba and Mr. Blackwood Fire. Hey, Mr. Blackwood Fire. Okay, Mr. Blackwood Fire. So China doesn't look like the family, like, it doesn't look like the political. It will never ask like, why is that president like doing things like this? Why is it that we are having conflicts in Congo? Because China could be actually assisting, could be providing force in instabilities that are going on in Congo. But why is it? It is focusing on mining areas. It is focusing on extracting. Uh, Minerals from Congo. It doesn't focus at anything, and that is China, and that is China. So anything that is related to how your country runs, how things move on in your country, do you have corruption? Is of course your lead a puppet of other countries? It doesn't focus on that. And resources, it doesn't stop on resources. We have seen very many rice farms within our different African countries that are, of course, led by these Chinese. These people have exploited swamps in African countries by growing rice. We have seen roads that have been destroyed by water just because these people are doing these people are carrying out cultivation of course rice, cultivation of rice within swamps, and of course okugira ecology okusima obusenyi okugaba esabu bakabona tebagula gyeyagala naawe nedaba lyogera mpeeyi no it's okay ah twabiri twabiri kuliko ettaka gabisooka ebbeere eribala 13. Some theory people are watching us from Twitter. It's nice. Now Keith is going to start saying that these are grasshopper and crickets. Yeah, like how China has destroyed like different African countries. I was actually talking about Congo. What's going on within Congo? The failed promises these guys did to Congo. The roads they promised, the power plants, the schools, all these things are not seen in material. However, the exchange for that, the price for that is taken from Congo, and those are minerals. Ensula gitunga bubi osobola girya. Bagitunga bubi tebamanyi kusala nyama eyo nsula yante oba gabwa mu kisenyi bagitunga bubi ate tejja nagyokya lyokyayo katimba k'engalama. Female energy. They have emptied the gels. Either way, um, I'll take my I'll take this opportunity to thank everyone that has been part of our shows from Monday to Friday. We are we are always here from Monday to Friday. But for those that who support in our shows and our discussions, who supplement and complement on what we say here, you know, whenever we do such discussions, it's not like we are the final. Take care, stay well, family. So it's not like we are the last people,
Take care to GB Jabba.
and I guess it is during the day that side. However, we are struggling with the night this side.
No struggle.
Yeah, it is approximately 9. So I'm so thankful to everyone that is always watching, supporting our shows, liking our shows, sharing. For those people, there are people that watch us and they don't want to be cricket. You
Wow. I said to say it.
Mine is dead. Mhm. By the way, Jib Jabba, if you get chance to taste a cricket, wow, it is one of to be sincere, it is one of the most delicious insects apart from most
Grasshopper.
maneno yanaga no squid. Apart from grasshoppers that I've ever tasted, like something which tastes nice. To be sincere, apart from keeping still.
Mm.
There are things that like crickets that they taste nice. To be sincere, if
Like
we,
chicken.
they're like grasshoppers, but they need when you put like enough onions
Mm.
if you want it to taste better.
I put much veggies.
Yeah, you can enjoy. It is nice, very nice.
I've never eaten a cricket before,
Always nice. We used to
but
eat
I've
that
always wanted to. But I do
one
not.
time. One time we got a cricket, we, like in the evening, whenever we could go, like we had friends. But there are time when we used to be greedy, like you don't want others. You go there first. When you go there first, you get like one because it's not by the way very easy to get like very many in one place.
Mm.
So you get like one, you come with it. One time I picked one, I came with it. We normally squeeze them from down. Don't say it tastes like chicken. Oh, bag.
I don't know. I was asking because you said it has a good taste. So yeah, I'm trying to imagine because
So
I love
whenever,
eating chicken and
whenever you're holding those insects, the cricket, you can't hold it like this. You have to put it down and hold it like this because if you hold it badly, it is slippery. It can
to
go
run.
out. So I had to hold my cricket. I went in the kitchen, those village kitchens, they don't have doors. So like
You just enter
you just enter, free entry and free exit.
with the
So
firewood.
yeah, so reaching there, I was so excited about like eating this insect. So when I threw it like to the fire like this, I don't put it on any stick or when I threw it to the fire, it just
To win.
I looked for the cricket in the whole kitchen. But to find I found it in the morning when it died in the morning. So I had to cook it in the morning. You know?
I know your childhood stories are always crazy. He has a very crazy He said he
I'm
he
going
grew up
by
in
all
a
this
free range
stuff.
system. So he was a free range system bird.
Okay,
I do
Jibba.
not have that chance. I'm going by all this bad talk. You don't have crickets are bad.
I know.
They're not bad. Well, I've never tested that before because I do not have a chance like to, of course, stay for long in the villages. And I think they're always there when it's raining.
Even when it is.
Yeah, like in
Nga
December.
gwasenya ate nno boy ebbugumu ligattireyo wansi baba. You know when it is too sunny, there is a lot of heat down.
Underground.
So they come out of the ground. And by the way, when it is sunny, they come out early. They come out early. They come out of the ground early at exactly 7. You start hatching them. But when it is rainy season, you got 7. Wow. You just feel them crying. Like when they
Mulimu
come.
amazzi agookya ne bidduka. Ne bagamba bisimene ekituli ne bikaabirira.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I also do that. So thank you for those that have been part of our show. Since from since from from Monday to Friday. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for always being here with us, sharing with us. Thank you so much for those that have been watching us on Facebook. That is Black Coat Fire Radio Station. Thank you so much for those that have been watching us from YouTube, Black Coat Fire Network too. Thank you so much for your support always. For those that are watching us from Twitter, thank you so much. People are watching us from Twitter today. Thank you for watching us from Twitter. Thank you so much, Blackwood Family One. And by the way, don't forget to, of course, like and follow the Facebook page, and of course, subscribing to our YouTube channel, Blackwood Family Network Two, and of course, Twitter. Thank for those that have been in our comment section, that if you know that you have been out there not giving us time to rest here while presenting this show, Kelly Williams being the first person. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jib Jabba has just left. Jib Jabba, thank you. Ever since the first hour.
And don't forget the silent majorities.
Yeah,
who are always in the Kamoli. We call it Kamoli. Yeah, we also appreciate.
Yeah. So it has been me. By the way, we broadcast from Kampala, Uganda. It has been me, INNOSSETU.
Africa Maria, have a blessed weekend. See you on Monday.
Thank you so much. I think we are going to meet now on Monday with other hottest shows here on Black Fire Network. Bye-bye. I know you can.